In a small village, there lived a traditional family who had long forgotten the importance of unity. Each member of the family did things their own way. The father was a farmer, but he worked his fields alone, never asking for help or sharing his plans with anyone. The mother was skilled in weaving, but she kept to herself, refusing to teach her children or involve them in her work. The children, too, were often in conflict, arguing over small things, and never playing or working together. This family had a strong tradition, but they had become so focused on their individual tasks that they forgot about each other and about God. They never prayed together or asked for God's guidance in their daily lives. As a result, their home was filled with tension, and they rarely experienced peace. The grandfather, who lived with the family, saw what was happening. He was old and wise, and he remembered the teachings of his ancestors. He was troubled by the way his family had become so disconnected and how they had left God out of their lives. He knew that without unity and without seeking God's help, the family would continue to struggle. One evening, after a particularly heated argument between the children, the grandfather called the family together. They sat around the fire, their faces lit by the warm glow of the flames, but their hearts were heavy with the weight of their disagreements.
"Let me tell you a story,"
the grandfather began, his voice calm but filled with concern.
"It is a story from the Bible, one that I think can help us understand what is happening in our family."
The grandfather leaned in closer to the fire and began to tell the story of the Tower of Babel. He spoke of a time long ago when all the people of the earth spoke the same language. They understood each other perfectly and decided to work together to build a great city with a tower that would reach the heavens.
They wanted to make a name for themselves,
the grandfather explained.
They thought that by building this tower, they could prove their greatness to everyone, even to God. But their hearts were filled with pride, and they forgot that they needed God's help.
The family listened closely as the grandfather continued. He told them how God saw the people's pride and decided to confuse their language. Suddenly, the people couldn't understand each other anymore. They spoke different languages, and the work on the tower came to a halt. The people were scattered across the earth, and the city became known as Babel, which means confusion.
The lesson here,
the grandfather said, looking at each member of the family,
is that when we focus only on ourselves and forget about each other and about God, we can become confused and divided. Just like the people in Babel, we lose our way when we let pride and selfishness take over.
The family sat in silence, reflecting on the story. The father, who had always been so focused on his work, realized that he had been neglecting his family. The mother, who had kept her skills to herself, understood that she had missed opportunities to bond with her children. The children, who had been fighting, felt ashamed for letting their disagreements tear them apart. The grandfather continued,
"We must learn from the people of Babel. We need to come together as a family, to support one another, and to invite God into everything we do. Only then will we find peace and success."
That evening, the family prayed together for the first time in a long while. They asked God for forgiveness and guidance. They made a promise to work together, to communicate, and to involve God in all their plans. Over time, the family began to change. The father started involving his children in the farming, teaching them the skills he had learned over the years. The mother shared her weaving techniques with her daughters, and they worked together to create beautiful fabrics. The children stopped arguing as much and started helping each other with their chores and studies. Their home, once filled with tension, became a place of harmony and joy. They prayed together each morning, asking for God's blessing on their day. They talked about their plans and dreams, and they made decisions as a family. The grandfather watched these changes with a grateful heart. He knew that the story of the Tower of Babel had helped his family understand the importance of unity, humility, and the need to seek God's guidance in all things. In your own family, think about how you can work together more closely. Are there areas where you have been acting alone or without considering others? Take time to pray together, ask for God's guidance, and make a commitment to support each other in all that you do. Share this story with your family and talk about how you can apply its lessons in your daily lives. Remember, true strength comes from unity and humility. Let's work together with God's help to build a life filled with peace, love, and success.